This is the Toyota Coupe High Riding.
Is that what it stands for?
That's what it stands for. Toyota
I've
has
seen
gone
many
through,
variations, but
Toyota has gone through a series of naming cars that are the initials of what they intended. I'll give you another example. The Scion FRS was front-mounted, rear-drive dash sports car. This is Coupe dash high riding
dash hashtag slash
yes
forward.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
You're watching Everyday Driver. We make a TV show, podcast,
and YouTube channels dedicated to great cars, driving adventures, and helping you find a car you'll love.
subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a thing.
2020 CHR. We have not driven this yet, as a matter of fact. It's been out for a couple of years on the market. So this is what I consider a world car. This is not only built in Japan, but it's built in other places, including Turkey, which is amazing.
Huh, interesting.
And when you decide to build a world car, it has to meet so many requirements. But this is a large market. There's more than, well, there's almost 20 that I can count models of this subcompact SUV size.
Who knew that was a category?
It's
subcompact SUV or CUV. Now
it's selling though. That's
CUV,
why everybody
SUVs
makes them.
Supposed to be big. Subcompact supposed to be small. Put them together, subcompact SUV, CUV, but they're all funky. Have you thought about that?
They
as well?
are.
They're all funky.
There's
Real
some
quick.
that are more funky than others.
Yes,
though.
Buick Encore is in this class. Jeep Renegade and its sister car, the Fiat 500X.
500X, yes.
There's the Honda HR-V.
That little tiny thing, yes.
That little tiny thing. There's Mini Countryman's in here.
Yes.
Mazda Cx-3. It goes on and on.
There's
a
the
huge
CX-30.
list.
There's the Trax. There's the Soul. The Rogue.
Yes.
The Venue. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few others.
Amphitheater. No, we're making them up now.
Let's throw the
There's a
Q3 in
ton
there
of them.
too.
There's a lot.
Here's the deal. I'm fascinated that in applying design to a small object or an inexpensive object can color your viewpoint. I'm not comparing this car to a toothbrush, but toothbrushes can have good design too.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a large luxury yacht just to have good design. But in this market segment, which is low priced, low powered, it's not expected to do a lot, but it is expected to be a good, fun, interesting car. And there's such competition. What is the thing that differentiates your model from someone else's?
Absolutely.
And so in this case, I find myself a little bit colored because of the design. I do like it.
Do you really?
I'm impressed by Toyota going out on a limb and Toyota being bold. Bolder than they ever have been. And what I like about the CHR is that it tells us, everybody, enthusiast in shopping, look at what Toyota is doing. Look what they're willing to do.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Okay.
It's manifested itself in a shape that
it's a shape.
is divisive.
Yes.
It's divisive.
Right in this car. Divisive.
There's the
Because I
line.
do not like it.
tape
It's
the
right
line
down
down.
the middle. You stay on your side,
Kids,
because no.
Don't you dare come
I'm
over
sorry.
on my side.
No.
I like it because I'm impressed with the deep dish sheet metal that Toyota is punching the fenders. I can't believe they're this sculpted, that they actually went this far. Look at this from a side view. It's like a rolling platform with the egg passenger compartment and the luggage compartment sitting in this rolling chassis. There's so much going on. This is very busy. There's so many themes. There's texture everywhere in the door panels and the roof divots up here.
There's lots
the
of
diamond shape, everything
going on all over the place. Yep.
But I maintain that of all of the cars we've listed in this category, this is one of the most interesting. You might not like it, and that's okay. But it's one of the most intriguing.
Distinctive. I'll give you distinctive.
We're going to slice it up. We're going to use our words now.
Interesting is not a word that always means good, and I'm not even sure this is interesting. I think, honestly, when I first saw one of these, I was driving in a downtown area, and a silver one passed me, and I said out loud, most of the time you don't say things randomly out loud to yourself. I said out loud,
really.
What is that? And I was not happy about it.
To yourself?
To myself, in a car by myself. It went by me, and I went, what is that? I have never liked this.
But it made you look. It made you look.
Is that good?
Made you look.
Is that good? The thing I will say, though, is they have refined the front end. This 2020 has a revised front end that has improved it. It's softened it a bit. It used to have a very kind of like Aztec stone jaw front end, and that's been softened.
Fair enough.
I will say that helps. The other thing that helps is this color.
Here's the things. If you're looking at the CHR and you're thinking about buying one, the things that you need to know are the power, first of all. It's right in the middle of all these cars in this category. 144 horsepower, 137 foot-pounds of torque.
Yep.
that sounds okay. And compared to one of my favorites in the segment, I think yours too, and that is the Mazda Cx-3.
Yes, definitely a standout.
It's not that much less.
True.
It's only 4 horsepower less than the Cx-3.
True.
But the big problem that this car has is the CVT. And we have railed on CVTs before. But I find myself, if I need to punch it, I need to dart around something or get out of the way of a truck or just have some acceleration, it is the CVT that lets me down the most and the most frequently. It is not the power. Because that Mazda Cx-3 has about the same kind of power, and it's got a 6-speed.
It's got a traditional 6-speed automatic.
Fine.
And it works
just fine.
normal, and it has power when you need it. I will say this, though. A downside to this power, though, is power to weight. This is one of the heaviest cars in the segment at 3,300 pounds. And honestly, every time I drive this and look at it, I don't think it should weigh 3,300 pounds. A lot of the things in this segment weigh right about 3,000 or 31, and the Cx-3 is in there at weighing just under 3,000 pounds.
Right, it's got a little bit more torque.
It's almost 300 pounds lighter than this with the same amount of power. That does start to matter.
The one thing that I do really like about the CHR is the ride quality. I'm surprised that a car with a wheelbase this short and this heavy rides as well as it does. I've taken this on freeways, I've taken it on back roads. I keep thinking, all right, you're going to spend a lot of time in this car. The seats are mounted a little bit higher, so it gives you that feeling what shoppers are looking for.
Totally.
And it also gives you foot space in the rear, so you can stick your feet underneath. So there's lots of little things around the car that designers have thought, all right, we've got to package this thing. It's got to be great in all markets because there's different engines, there's a hybrid version of this. It's built all over the world, and it is great for cities. It's small, it's compact, so are a lot of cars. So what is the standout thing? Well, it is the ride. And I do like the fact that both of us can fit in the rear seats.
That is surprising.
We can go like this, and you're not brushing the top of the roof.
That's true. I mean, I have a apparently freakishly long torso, but I can sit in the back. And I actually looked at the stats and didn't believe it until I climbed in the back because Toyota claims the same amount of headroom within like a quarter of an inch in the rear seats as the front seats. And I looked at this car in profile and went, no way. Actually, there's a surprising amount of headroom in the back. What you don't get is anything that feels like you're an adult. And what I mean by that is the side of the car is way up here above your shoulder, and the window is this little letterbox thing. You're back in the booster seat where you can barely see out.
You're eating at the kids' table.
You have enough headroom, but you are relegated to the back. But I am surprised at the space back there because none of these, and the Cx-3 is excellent in this class. It's one of my favorites. We've driven it, but it actually is even more cramped in the back than this is. This is this market segment. So if you need more backseat space, you kind of can't be here, period.
But I'm just kind of impressed. I got in the back, we position our seat where we would drive, and then we get in behind ourselves to think, all right, how is it back there? I was surprised because I'm not uncomfortable. It's not a road trip kind of thing where I want to spend a lot of time.
It's not roomy, but it works.
This is the Limited, which means the fully loaded everything. I cannot find really the reason to buy the Limited. Because the only perceivable things that you get are different 18-inch wheels and tires, a different design. You can get that on the XLE, the middle flavor of this.
Sure.
There's the optional upgraded radio stereo system, but the only thing I can find that's different is HD radio. The only thing that I can figure out is the seat. And on the driver's side, it is a power seat. And I do like that it's got the inflatable lumbar back here for long road trips. I do appreciate that. Everything else is manual, but over here, there's no seat settings, but you do get the more adjustable seat over here. And I thought, that is a benefit, but I'm not sure that's the only reason to buy the Limited. Otherwise, it's trim pieces. It is the high-intensity LED projector beam headlights. It is that.
With the eyebrows and all,
Otherwise, get the middle flavor, save yourself a bunch of money. If you do like the styling, and you do like the fact that it's a Toyota, and you need some headspace for taller guys or taller people, this is interesting.
It is interesting. The 28 grand is a lot in this category. And, this is along the lines of what Toyota's doing styling-wise across their area right now. They have kind of this weird off-kilter shape to put the big screen here.
Sure.
It has, if you look at it, actually, if you think about it, we were just in the Highlander. This has essentially the same approximate shape as the Highlander does in its interior.
You're seeing a theme. You're seeing a theme, a corporate theme.
Toyota is definitely doing that.
Love it.
You've got way too much piano black for my taste. I don't think that helps it feel premium, but because, of course, you touch it, it just makes it feel worse.
It does. I'm leaving fingerprints.
But at the same time, this feels like a car that cost you mid-20s. And now it's almost 30. It doesn't feel like a $30,000 car.
Sure.
It is getting by. Look, the Mini does it too. The Jeep Renegade does it too. It's getting by on quirky. This is their quirky feel.
Quirky has a premium?
Well, but see, I think that is the thing that this market segment does. What's happening in cheap cars now is they aren't the torture chambers they used to be, because they're all going some direction toward quirky. This has got diamonds in the headliner, okay?
Diamonds.
Which is a running theme in the design here.
Well, so that's my point, and that is to push you as a buyer into the showroom and to push you to, our direction. They all pretty much do the same thing. They're all equipped pretty similarly. They all make kind of the same power.
Very similar,
Some drive better than others, but ultimately, you have to like it. You have to like being here, looking at everything. And if you love how it looks, and you like that one better than that one just because of the looks, that's where design wins. And that's where design is so useful on an inexpensive object.
When are you going to share what you think this car is the modern equivalent of? We'll
Does
change
it have
seats,
to be now?
and then you have to share. Quirky door handles. That rear door handle thing that they do here is, look, it's kind of interesting. I have a 10-year-old son, and that was his favorite thing on the car. Was Dad, did you see the hidden door handles?
It's totally cool.
It is cool. This is the thing that's happened in a lot of these weirder designs of late, is we go, how do we hide the door handles? Or in the case of the Mustang Mach-E, we didn't even do door handles. You do a back door that has some sort of, where is the handle? They've done a kind of cool job here.
I want to talk a little bit about handling, but first, before we do, I thought of the popularity of the PT Cruiser back in the day. Remember how everybody just suddenly loved the PT Cruiser?
Yes.
And then later on we thought, why did everybody like that so much? Is that what the modern day equivalent?
Except
I'm asking. I'm not claiming that it is.
But this isn't as beloved and sought after as the PT Cruiser.
But the PT Cruiser was kind of one of one in the market. It didn't have 19 other competitors in the marketplace.
And it was being sold on its quirky styling, which is absolutely, CVT. Ugh.
See?
It's just drony and awful.
It is the thing that is the worst part about the car.
I agree with you.
It would have so much character if it just had, let's just do a 6-speed. We know they work. All the character that could come out of this car, you look at it and you think, well, that's got to be fun to drive. Look at this thing. It's got to be amazing at a low level, not a sports car. I'm not talking like
when you bring your expectations down enough, it's awesome. Yeah.
I'm not saying GR, CHR. I'm not saying
that's not
at that
letters.
level it's got to be amazing. No, because there's no turbocharge. If it had even the lightest pressure, light boost of turbo, it would spring to life. It would be amazing.
This is the key thing about the bait and switch of CVTs, is they're being embraced because they are so efficient, but yet there are cars without them, like the CX-3, that are as efficient or more.
Yeah.
Speaking of other things in the competition, I'm trying to think about the things, because there's so many here that some of which we've driven, but we haven't driven them all.
Yeah.
Okay? The Renegade or the 500X, do you like those because you prefer their quirky styling than this?
And that could be. That is a differentiating factor.
They have 9 speeds in them that we didn't love either. I'll tell you the 2 standouts for me in this market.
Let's throw some
and
gears.
they're very different, because this is front-wheel drive only. You cannot get it all-wheel drive.
Yeah, it doesn't have
Subaru makes the Crosstrek, which is technically, let's be honest, it's in this category, but I think the Crosstrek, as weird as it sounds, is more honest, because what is the Crosstrek? The Crosstrek is a hatchback.
Yeah.
Slightly lifted. And truthfully, all of these are that. They're not really SUVs. They're masquerading as CUVs, because
cars.
what they are hatchbacks lifted a bit.
Yeah.
The Crosstrek has got better ground clearance. It's got Subaru's great all-wheel drive system. Unfortunately, it comes with a CVT, though Subaru does it better than others. But the Crosstrek can be had with a manual. So now you can wind up in this market segment. You can spend similar money, or in many cases, less than this. You get better off-road capability and a manual transmission. I think that is your play here if you're an enthusiast, or you're thinking, I want some off-road CUV capability. You got to go Crosstrek. If you want to go commuting luxury, you go CX-3.
Well, and that's as Todd has said, because the CHR is not offered with an all-wheel drive running platform. So the Mazda is, others are. I do think if they offered it an all-wheel drive, it could sort of, channel that Suzuki SX4 thing back in the day that didn't really know what it was.
Maybe.
It could be interesting.
Okay, wait, hang on. I'm in manual 3.
Paddle
Paddle harder. There you go.
Cruising along.
We're getting there. I mean,
okay, let's say CVTs don't matter. What does matter is ride quality, and I do love that about the CHR. I'm kind of impressed with how well this rides.
I think it's okay. I think it's interesting that you find it understandable, because I think it's
good.
acceptable. I don't think it's great.
I think it's good.
All right.
We don't have the Mazda CX-3 here as a comparison to jump right into the other car, but from what I remember about driving it, I feel like this is a little bit more compliant. Where that has the opposite effect is in handling. And I'm riding over here for the first time while you're driving, feeling corners. Toyota says that the steering rack, has that sharp turn in. Well, it's let down by the weight of the car and the softer suspension. So that is what you give up. Does it need to be a sports car? No, it doesn't. It needs to be great at what it does, and you need to love looking at it. And if this is something that appeals with the patterns and the consistent textures everywhere, there's stuff to look at.
Textures, yes.
It is interesting. There's visual information, and there's a lot going on. You could even claim it's very busy. But that's okay.
I would claim that.
If you love looking at it and you love spending time here, and I do like that seat, and you do set up pretty nice and straight.
Pretty good seat.
And it's comfortable here. So those are the things that you want in a commuter, that you want, you're spending a lot of time here for ride sharing or pizza deliveries or whatever you have a CHR for. It comes down to, do we like being here? Is it pleasing to my eye? Do I want to look at this stuff for the next 3 years or 4?
I wish it was 300 or 400 pounds lighter, and I wish it would embrace being a quirky hatchback and not a CUV. But I feel like that would be the place where it would shine more. Coupe, high riding. These are not terms that needed to be together. They really aren't.
But that's what's selling.
I know.
That's what's selling. And
can I even pull off this pass? I'm trying.
Can I help you out?
I don't know, man. Maybe. I've got it completely hammered, not powerful. And the handling is
let down by the weight and the soft suspension.
Yes, you're right.
I do like the ride.
The turn-in is solid. You're right. The trade-off for having a decent ride is that you do have quite a bit of kind of wallow suspension once you get yourself settled into a fast corner. Are you going to do a fast corner? Probably not.
The choice is yours.
The low 20s range of cars typically don't have great ride. This has a solid ride for that market segment. I don't think it's worth almost 30 grand. Yes. And I would still prefer, depending on your preference, CX-3 from Mazda or the Crosstrek from Subaru, personally. But this is quirky.
It's bold. It shows us Toyota's willing to do cool stuff.
It's bold.
It's interesting. There's visual information everywhere you look. There's stuff to look at. We're so distracted now. Surely there's something in here that's going to be appealing to your eyes. Surely it's not boring. Let's put it that way.
It isn't boring. So bold it belongs in a salsa commercial. That's what this should be.